Alright guys, and welcome back to another Opera Omnia video, where today we're going to be talking about the second in the Million Trio. We're going to be talking about the protagonist from 13-2 himself, the guy that Cross 13 simps for. We're going to be talking about Noel, who's returning with his LD and BT plus weapon. We're also going to give a quick look at Onion Knight, and spoiler alert guys, no, just don't. So, before Simply Lost and Mr. Fake Tactics himself, Caden Cortez, that's right, I said it, if you want to be called Tactics, you should probably be a Tactics fan. Before those guys get here, I'm the Dystopia Bard, and I'm here to tell you about the real prize of the banner. He's a chain-smoking, foul-mouthed SOB that's going to jump right into your hearts. His name is Dystopia Sid Highwind. So, if you guys enjoy this content, consider sitting down, shutting up, and drinking your goddamn tea. Also, maybe hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, probably should, do that, because you'd be missing out on some awesome content like this.
Dude, Bard, again? Why are you here again? Get out of here.
Oh, crap.
No, seriously, Bard,
before I get
go.
kicked,
Bard,
guys, just remember to pull for Sid.
Man, I'm going to have to talk to Clay from Dystopia about Bard, because this behavior is getting a little bit out of control. I know, I'm sorry, I'm just memeing. Anyways, welcome back, guys, to another Opera Omnia video, where we are back for another Who Should You BT Plus video. And in this video, we're going to be covering both Noel and Onion Knight, two characters who are going to be the first C90s to be arriving to Global DFFOO. Now, with these two characters, we're going to be covering the pros and cons, who they synergize with. We're going to cover a little bit about what they are going to be getting in terms of reworks and their BTs. And when I say we, of course, once again, Kaiden is back, as he is the pro of tactics. And he's going to be talking about some things with me in this video. So, as always, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. Make sure to check out Kaiden's channel as well. That link will be down in the description of this video. And with that being said, though, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's take a look at both Noel and Onion Knight. So seeing as now we are in the C90 era, we're going to be talking about EX reworks as well for this Who Should You BT Plus and for future ones as well. So first off, we'll start off with Onion Knight's rework. So with his LD being the only thing getting rework, he now starts off with his overhead, which lasts for 6 turns at the start of the quest. Now, whenever you use his LD ability, he now deals 50% splash damage to non-targets after his first attack, but then his last HP attack deals full HP damage and now allows for 200% stolen max brave overflow. Now with his overhead, it did get improvements, so now it adds a 40% brave damage up, 10% HP damage up. The party gets a 20% brave damage up and a 10% HP damage up. Now when it comes to Onion Knight's EX ability, so with his EX ability, seeing as how depending on which type of buff you have, whether it be the ninja buff or the sage buff, will be the attack that you deal. So with the ninja buff active, his EX ability now becomes a 6-hit melee brave plus an HP attack 4 times, and it increases HP damage by 40% with a brave potency of 80% per hit. Then if you have the sage buff active, it becomes a 4-hit AoE magic brave plus an AoE HP attack dealt twice with a brave potency of 80% per hit, and it does inflict the ice resist down to all targets for 4 turns after his first HP attack. Now, when it comes to his C65, seeing as how that is also going to be getting reworked now that we are in the C90 era. So with his C65, his C65 got extended by 2 turns, so now it lasts for 7 turns instead of 5. Then it also adds party attack up by 20% and a 20% party brave damage cap up. Now with his BT effect, depending on which buff you have, whether it be the Sage buff or the ninja buff will determine what you are going to be getting if you do decide to BT plus Onion Knight. But the one thing to note is that his BT effect got extended by 2 turns instead of the original 6. Now, if you have the ninja buff active, he now adds a party HP damage up by 10%. He also adds to the party a 70% melee and ranged attack up. So originally it was 30%. Now he gets an additional 70, being now 100% for both of them. If you do have Sage buff active when he does his BT attack, he now adds a 70% party magic attack up. So now instead of the 30%, it'll be a 100% for his BT effect. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with the little knight himself, which is Onion Knight, the, I guess, quote unquote next warrior of light, since Homeboy decided to sacrifice himself for the greater good. But of course, I'm gonna let Kaiden take over, like I mentioned earlier in the video, as he is the professional in DFFOO tactics. So welcome back, man. Great to have you.
I don't understand how I keep getting this tactics roll. For those who are watching, I keep getting kidnapped, and for some reason, I keep end up in this basement. Help!
Hey, wait a second. You're not supposed to tell him that.
Listen. All right, so I guess talking about this will release me sooner. So we're going to go ahead and talk about Onion Knight here. Onion Knight, when he gets a C90, he definitely gets a couple of changes. Not a lot of changes, just a couple of changes. For the most part, in his rework, it is not going to be touching his skill 1 and skill 2 at all. You still have to use skill 1 and skill 2 in order to get the level 2 version of his job mastery for that setup. But when he does start off, and when he enters the field now, with his LD extensions, and on top of that, I believe the higher level versions of his 85 and C90, he'll be starting off and he'll be joining the field with his overhead active already. So you don't need to press his LD right away. His LD did get a couple of changes. His LD definitely gave him some stats, but it also gave the party stats as well. So it'll be brave damage increase for the party by 20%, and 10% brave. It'll be a 10% HP damage increase for the party. So Onion Knight offers some utility. His C65 definitely got reworked as well. You're going to be looking at brave damage cap up for that, and on top of that, the extension for his turn duration on his C65 increased as well. So it'll no longer be 5, it'll be 7. Now, the thing that everybody pretty much comes here for is his BT effect. His BT effect, if you do green him, changes things up dramatically for him. He does get 2 HP dumps if you're going to be using ninjutsu, or if you're going to be using spellbook, so you'll be able to drop 2 HP dumps now on you. And on top of that, the stats changes for him overall. You'll be looking at the brave damage increase for both sets, if you're going to be using both ninjutsu and spellbook. Spellbook and ninjutsu have different setups though, so you'll be looking at them or think of them as stances. For ninjutsu, you'll be increasing physical damage, so you'll be increasing both physical damage dealers and ranged damage dealers. For spellbook, you'll be increasing nothing but mage damage output, or any magic casters in the situation. So Onion Knight has the ability to be very versatile in his team comps. It just depends on a team comp that you put him in. He also increases HP damage again, and he also increases brave damage. Brave stolen over 4 back for this. So he does have a lot in his BT effect, and his BT effect is definitely more for the versatility of team comps. But ideally, if you're going to be running him, I would definitely say more than anything else, if you're going to be running him, definitely run him in a solid team, so that way you know which stance you're going to be in. If you have 1 of each, you can probably get away with it, but you want the BT effect to benefit everybody in the team, not just 2 people in the team. Strengths, I will definitely say that he's able to enchant ice, and on top of that, imperil ice, so he will definitely be able to provide a lot going on there for the team as well. Another strength of his is that he's very self-sufficient, and he does offer, he is able to hit some of his own caps. However, we're going to talk about his defenses, or his, definitely going to talk about his errors here. He does need help in some situations, because of the fact that he has only 1 HP dump in both skill 1 and skill 2. His LD did get a change. If you're using his LD, it'll definitely do the 1 single target damage HP attack at that point, but it definitely offers splash damage. So you're going to be looking at a single HP dump with splash. the second hit of the LD attack will have 100% AoE attached to it, so that is nice. I feel like if you were to increase his HP damage cap overall, it would definitely help him deal more damage. Because he only has 1 HP dump, this is where he kind of gets not the greatest reputation, because his skill 1 and skill 2 only deals, like his skill 1 only has 1 HP dump, but his skill 2, if you have it at level 2, has the full HP value on one target and splash damage on the other. So Onion Knight gets a lot of bad reps. However, a lot of Onion Knight's damage output comes in his forms of his EX now. If you use the Blade Torrent, you'll be looking at 4 HP dumps, and Meteorite will also have 2 HP dumps, but it'll have 2 HP dumps, full HP value to both targets. So they're both 4 each, just one is going to be single target where the other one's going to be AoE based. So you'll be able to really mix it up with him, and you want to really be able to mix it up according to the team members that you have or the damage that you need. Onion Knight is able to hit hard, and on top of that, he's able to hit weakness, but you will still need defense down overall, because as we do go into more of the Rufinia Plus that we plan on going up against sooner, he can equip an ultimate weapon, which is nice with him being C90. However, just because he can equip an ultimate weapon doesn't mean that the boss's stat weights will change. You'll most likely see very, very heavy defensive targets coming up in the future. So you definitely want to keep in mind that debuffs still matter in the situation. And if you can definitely run him with other units who can definitely help benefit him in the middle of either his HP dumps or just his damage output overall, will definitely be very beneficial for him. I can definitely think of one that's currently out right now, if you have pulled her, is Ursula, just because of the fact that her ability or her unique mechanic of making everybody just stay at 20% max brave will definitely help him out overall, because he won't just drop an HP dump and he'll go back to 0. He'll actually do an HP dump and he'll start out at 20% max brave for the next HP dump. So you do have him rolling fairly decent there. Another unit that I could probably think about is Machina if you run those two next to each other, just because of the fact that Machina's BT effect has HP damage cap up, so any unit that can increase HP damage cap will definitely help him tremendously. And another unit that I could definitely think about, if you battery him before his options, or if you battery him before he gets hits in, he may only have 1 HP dump, but you definitely want that 1 HP dump to be max. To not be max is kind of complicated. But overall, I feel like Onion Knight, if you definitely run him with the correct team members, you can definitely make him hit hard and have the other two hit even harder because of how his unique setup works.
未来は変えられるって言葉を俺は信じる。はぁ
So now we'll take a look at Noel's rework, which the only thing that he got changed is going to be on his LD ability. So his LD ability now deals a 5-hit AoE melee brave plus an AoE HP attack 2 times. He also got an improvement to the Hunter of Light buff. So he now adds a 20% attack up, 20% HP damage up, a 20% brave damage up, and when attacking a broken enemy, he lowers the HP damage up to 20%, down from 30%, now being a total of 40%. And he also adds a 20% brave damage up, now being a total of 40%. That's a little weird that they add lowers HP damage up to 20%, down from 30%, now being a total of 40%. That's a little odd. May have to double check about that, but that might actually be his thing. But we're gonna go with the fact that he does provide a 40% HP damage up whenever he's attacking a broken enemy. His EX ability, Meteor Javelin. So there are 2 differences between Meteor Javelin and the Plus version. So the regular version with his EX extension now resets the target's break status. It becomes a 3-hit melee brave plus an HP attack dealt 6 times. It ignores defense when attacking. And it has a brave potency of 75% for the first 15 hits and a brave potency of 85% for the last 3 hits. Now, the regular version deals 50% splash HP damage to non-targets. But with the plus version basically does the same thing, except that the Brave potency maintains itself at 80% per hit, and it deals 80% splash HP damage to non-targets. Now with Noel's BT weapon, seeing as how it is going to be something new for Noel. So for Noel's BT weapon, without throwing anything into it, it is a 12-hit AoE melee Brave plus a single target HP attack, which does deal 50% splash HP damage. Now this BT attack does ignore defense, and it increases the Brave damage to a single target by 6%. And it also fills his EX his EX gauge to the max. Now, his BT effect does last for 8 turns, and it does not get changed whether you decide to BT plus him or just throw a book at him in general. If you throw a book at it, his attack now becomes a 10-hit AoE melee Brave plus a single target HP attack with 2 HP attacks. It does ignore defense. The Brave potency gets increased to 120% per hit compared to the 70%, and then the Brave damage cap up and max Brave cap up also get increased. At 1 out of 3, he gets an additional turn in his burst mode. At 2 out of 3 is when we'll talk about his BT effect. So his BT effect makes it so that his EX gauge speed is increased by 50%. So pretty much when you have his BT effect active, you have his EX ready by the time his turn comes up, and then after that you use an ability, and then on his following turn, guess what? His EX attack is ready to go. He does provide free skill usage except for some abilities, which would be his LD ability. So his C65, his EX ability, and not his EX ability, I'm sorry. His skill 1 and his skill 2 will get free skill usage. He also provides the party, with Brave damage cap up 20%. When breaking or attacking a broken target, the party Brave damage up is now at 50%, and you also get a 20% HP damage up for the party as well. And if you do decide to 2-3 his BT weapon, or basically just max it out at a BT plus, he does add additional Brave damage cap up by 30%, so now it'll be 50%. And then whenever you are breaking or attacking a broken target, he adds a 10% HP damage up to the party, so now it'll be a 30% instead of the 20%.
So next we have Noel on the dock. Noel is going to be a very interesting one just because he's very self-sufficient, and he becomes even more self-sufficient at C90. His LD definitely starting off, he comes with the LD board rework for him. He definitely is going to get 2 HP dumps added to it, so there is going to be more damage coming from his LD. And on top of that, the follow-up is still pretty much the exact same. It's going to be just the 1 HP dump, but you'll pretty much make money out of that no matter what happens with his LD damage output regardless. His C65 definitely did get changed, and it's definitely going to be more for himself, more towards anything else, as being able to set the target's Brave down to 0, and then being able to break on the next hit of it. Definitely helps him out more. And on top of that, it does give him attack, and it gives him Brave damage cap up. So that is very nice for him personally. With his BT debut, his BT debut is going to be something a lot of people know for, and on top of that, we'll be talking about his EX as well. With his BT debut, his BT gives him very good stuff, and it does help out the team as well. You'll be looking at the Brave damage increase, and on top of that, you'll be looking at HP damage increase. So he has 30% Brave damage, HP damage increase. He has a 50%. He has a 50% Brave damage increase when you actually break a target. So when you're attacking a broken target, you actually get a large amount of damage in as well. With his BT effect as well, you'll be looking at 3 skills for every turn that his BT effect is active. And on top of that, you'll be looking at you'll be able to do your EX more often. When Noel gets a C90, he does get an EX rework, and that EX rework is pretty massive. You'll be looking at 6 HP dumps total. That thing hits like a freight train. I don't think I can phrase this any better. He is known to be a part of the he's known to be a part of the 1 million trio. And the way you get his 1 million is pressing his EX button. They have made him very, very self-sufficient, and I believe that when you look at Noel for his own character and for his own damage output, out of the 2 BT plus, I will definitely start off with his pros. He is very self-sufficient. He has defense ignore in his main kit, and on top of that, the damage output for medium javelin. As I said earlier, it hits like a freight train. But however, with that being the case, if you get his plus variant, if you do use his EX, the first EX without the plus variant is going to be only dealing 50% splash damage, where if you have the plus variant, it'll be dealing 80% splash damage. So that is going to be a different type of ballpark, especially with his damage overall. He'll be able to do very, very high single target damage and actually apply some of that damage to the off target that he's not hitting at. With his BT effect active, he does get free skills. And with the free skills on, you'll be able to use one skill to go back into his EX, another skill back into another EX, another skill into another EX. So you can see how his repetition works in the situation. There are going to be units that come up in his cycle that benefit him greatly. But any unit that I can probably think about right now who will go well with him will be units that can increase his his EX recast overall. If you put him next to Ashe, you'll pretty much have a fun time with him. Him next to Ashe will be a guaranteed fun time, just because of the fact that Ashe enchants, and on top of that, she does give a free EX usage when she uses Queen's Order. And on top of that, Queen's Order does increase HP damage dealt. So another good thing about him, or about those two working together, you'll pretty much be able to hit Cat regardless. Another good unit I can think about that will work with him and is again Ursula, because she is still out on the global side, and on top of that, she can definitely keep him and his Brave at 20% when he is going through his HP dumps, because I don't believe that he braves himself back in the middle of his HP dumps. So you definitely want to keep some type of way to keep him high, and Ursula is a way to keep him high during his HP dumps because he has 6. Another unit that I can really think about that can definitely help him overall is probably definitely running him next to Vayne, just because of the fact that Vayne and Noel working together, Noel breaks every turn, and Vayne can capitalize that ideally. But however, you're going to need Vayne's BT effect to really capitalize on this. A honorable mention would be Bart. Bart automatically comes with the Wind in Peril, and he pretty much makes the enemies wind in peril just by him being there on the field, as long as he has his buff active. And Noel being able to hit both wind and ice elements, those two work really good together. They just work. I'm trying to think as far as everything else when it does come down to Noel. Noel's very damage. He's very damage efficient, but he does have a couple weaknesses. Weaknesses that come off like right off the top of my head is if you're not able to cap his Brave hits, and if you don't have a lot of HP modifiers on the enemy, or like debuff wise, you will most likely see that he's not capping. So the quickest way to really counteract that is to give HP damage debuffs to the enemy. Make sure that they can take a lot of HP damage, or aura bots that increase HP damage overall for the entire team. So just to really summarize for that, because Noel can hit hard, but in the process of hitting so hard, Noel doesn't have like a lot of Brave hits into those HP damages, because how fast he's throwing out those HP damage hits. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that will probably help Noel more than anything else is if he can increase his HP damage cap. Now, increasing HP damage is one thing, but if you can increase his HP damage cap, he will hit really hard too. Not saying that that's so much a weakness, but that's something that you definitely want to help him with in order to increase his damage overall. Another thing that I can definitely think about that is going to be a weakness for him is making sure that, if anything, because he can hit so hard, you definitely want to make sure that he's not going to get broken in the process. I believe if you're not running anybody outside of Ursula, or if you're not running like a way to get Brave back after HP damage is done, then you'll most likely catch him in a vulnerable state. You don't want him to be vulnerable. You definitely want him to be able to break the enemy, not him be broken. Yeah. But overall, I definitely think with Noel, and as any DPS is going to be between Noel and Onion Knight, they both really benefit from defense down. Defense down will always be king in some way, shape, or form, because that doesn't stop a boss from being tanky. However, on the fight where Noel gets his BT, it will be Divine Ifrit, and apparently Brave reductions are just not there for some weird reason. So have fun tackling that, guys. That's going to be fun to watch.
So we're gonna end off the video talking about who we are considering BT plusing. So I think I went last time. So you know what? We're gonna get to the spicy stuff. Go ahead. I'll let you talk because I know you got words.
So I think it's fairly obvious, and I think this is actually gonna be the first time I actually speak about like performances between these two units. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer which one is going to be the stronger BT plus.
Onion Knight.
Like, yes, definitely Onion Knight, 100%. But no, I honestly believe that I have to give this hands down to Noel because of how self-sufficient he is, and on top of that, his damage output is phenomenal. But these two are the first C90s. Don't get me wrong. Like, I completely and totally understand that every unit can be used in the game, and it just depends on cost or setup or team setup. Ideally, when you're talking about them, and Noel doesn't really. I really can't think of a way that he's not really he's not really like team reliant. He just explodes things, like he just kills things, and it's just like you can't really get mad at Noel for doing that. Thank you, Noel, for being able to just pump out damage, but he does need help, but he's so self-sufficient. And then when I look at Onion Knight, I'm looking at Onion Knight and I'm just looking at his damage output per turn, and it's just like, for me personally, when I look at the DPS who just got a C90, now Onion Knight is very I understand that they can't make Onion Knight utility and damaging at the exact same time. That would be just big no-nos all the way around. But with that being the case, if I really wanted to, I have Onion Knight's BT, and if I did get Noel's BT, I know which one that I would grab, and I definitely know which one I would green, and I would green Noel, just because of the fact that if I really come across a stage and the damage is just really needing to be high per turn, then I instantaneously turn to Noel for that. Or I would go back to Machina, who just recently came out with his BT. But I think Onion Knight works in very different. I think Onion Knight's versatility works make him work in majority of team counts, but Noel can literally just fit everywhere. I don't think that there's a situation where Noel doesn't fit, because you always want an enemy to be broken. You always want an enemy to be shaved. You always want an enemy to you always want to be able to deal damage to an enemy, and Noel has defense ignore. He has there's so many things that he does have. That just makes him extremely high damaging. However, when it does come down to it, I believe that Onion Knight does something that he cannot do. And the thing about it is, Onion Knight is definitely more team oriented and can enchant the team, where Noel is just very, I'm going to kill something real quick. Just hold his spear.
Hold his spear, yeah, exactly.
So it's when I look at Noel, I look at Noel as that freight train that I really just want to run over something with. Where when I look at Onion Knight, I'm looking at Onion Knight as not really a DPS, but as an enchanter that
more utility, basically.
Yeah. So on top of that, Onion Knight has the ability to turn manipulate. It is built into his LV though, so you can't just use that all the time. But
exactly.
If I'm ever in a odd spot, and if I really need to be able to do something with it, I can pretty much break both enemies and bring somebody else up. And where Onion Knight would be able to really be able to pull the other two units in front of the enemy at that point too. So I guess in this case, it's really up to you on your playstyle about how you look at them. And when I look at Noel C90 versus Onion Knight C90, it's clear and apparent who got the better one. But it still goes to show that both of them can still both of them can still be used. And if you were a fan of Onion Knight worked. He will definitely enable the team to hit hard. But Onion Knight is again stance unit. He is a stance unit that requires attention to detail to the team. Because if you're going to use ninjutsu and you have two mages with you, it's going to they'll still deal damage, but they won't capitalize on the damage. So you're forced to use spellbook if you're going to you're forced to use spellbook if you're going to bring two mages, or you're pretty much going to be using ninjutsu if you have two melees with them. So where Onion Knight is more I would definitely say for beginners and definitely more newer friendly, I would pick Noel just because of how destructive he is. But I would definitely give Onion Knight more towards veterans, because if you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing, and Onion Knight can easily slot in. But
Oh, exactly.
I mean, we can just blow shit up with Noel.
Yeah.
Like,
And I feel the same way. Like I'm right behind you on that, because like Onion Knight, like he was kind of like the go-to character like back in the day, at least for me,
Sure.
in team comps. But like now where we stand with C90, and especially once a couple of months from now we'll be into the FR era, and like I feel like I could probably still use Noel in some of like the Shinryu fights and whatnot, especially because by that time we'll probably have like a few ultimate weapons maxed out, maybe 1 or 2 for free-to-play players, but for those who buy premium pass, it'll be probably like 3, maybe close to 4. Just depends on like where we are at in the timeline for the FR era. But like for Onion Knight though, like I kind of feel like even if like I max out his weapon, and even if like I throw him in team cause, I kind of feel like he's gonna be like the one character that's like I would switch in to just get the BT effects out of him, and that's about it. So I see him more as like a friend support character, like just kind of like, okay, I want to boost up this and that, and so I'm just gonna switch him in, then you can get the hell out because I'm done with you. And that's pretty much how I see him. So to those who are fans of Onion Knight, like, look, I'm not trying to like shit on him, but like it's true. that's honestly the way that I see him. So like like you mentioned, like he is like more, I wouldn't say like I guess for like veteran players, like yeah, they know what they're doing, but like for like beginner players, they might not know like what actually is like works better depending on like what stance you have with him. But like for veteran players, he's like that third character in your team, especially if you want to like boost up your other 2 teammates. And if you BT plus him, then that effect would be nice to have on him. Just don't be expecting a tremendous amount of damage like you will see Noel be doing, because I mean, like it's obvious both of them, they have their differences, but like in terms of damage, it's pretty obvious who reigns between both of these 2 BT units. So for me, I green Noel back in JP when he first got released, and I'll probably do the same thing again, just because like this time I want to actually be able to combine him with a few other characters that I can think of. One thing that I'm most curious about him is how well he's gonna work with Machina, because like I want to try to see if maybe I can combine or put these 2 characters together in one team, throw a support character in there, and see how things go between these 2. Because like like you said earlier, Noel is pretty self-sufficient. He'll need his help here and there, but like I can use like call abilities, or I could bring like the one good support character that I know would benefit both of these 2 characters. So I kind of want to do some shenanigans with Noel, but at the same time though, like with what he does and him being the first few C90 characters, then I am more than likely going to be picking up Noel and his BT.
If I had to pick one, I would go Noel, only because of this. Now hear me out on this. But again, if I don't get his BT, I can live without it. Cross, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm just trying to say Cross 13. I'm sorry ahead of time. So Onion Knight, I would love to be able to use him more, but his BT theme song gives me a copyright claim every time. Like I can't use that BT. Like it's there, like I have it, I appreciate it, but it gives me a copyright claim. I can't. But on top of that, it's when I do look at it, I'm really looking at the 2 of them, and like for brute forcing things, I believe Noel is the absolute way to go. Just because of the fact that again, he has defense ignore. He has the ability to really drop damage output. It's coming through his EX now. Please understand, it's coming through his EX.
Mm-hmm.
The EX button is your best friend with Noel. And on top of that, like between the 2 of them, I really just think that Onion Knight is just for finesse, or more for players who have finesse, and it's easier to plug Noel in and go, where when you look at Onion Knight, you actually have to think with tactics. Like, you actually have to think about how you're going to play with him. Because again, he has stance mode, he has physical stance and magic stance, and on top of that, it's reflected in his BT effect. So you really want to bring the best out of everybody. And Noel may be very selfish with this BT effect because 2 of the effects are more towards him than everybody else. But he does have brave damage increase, and he does have HP damage increase.
Yeah.
And I think going forward, a lot of the BT effects are going to have both brave damage and HP damage, if I'm not mistaken. Where we have ones in the past that are like just brave here and HP here. Having HP damage cap up is one thing, and putting HP damage cap up units next to Noel will make him spike even higher. Another thing I can probably think about when it does come down to the 2 of them is that they both want blue armor in order to hit higher caps.
Definitely.
Noel especially needs it. So if you're going to be pushing DPS, and if you really want him to hit like a free trade, you're gonna have to like invest into him. Like Onion Knight doesn't really need to be invested in. Like, you don't need his blue armor because his stuff can be easily more geared towards the other 2 units. So the other 2 units can pretty much just wreck shop. But I would definitely say for sure Noel needs it. There's more investment with Noel, but he gives you return. Like, he will definitely give you what you want from him. Onion Knight,
which is damage.
I'm very sorry, Onion Knight. You are the new warrior of light. I appreciate this. You are the new leader of the DFFOO community, but like,
not anymore.
I look. He's the new leader in the story right now. Let him have it, okay? I'm just trying to I'm trying to speak. I'm trying to be neutral towards both, and in the process of being neutral towards both, I have to see both strengths and weaknesses. To see the strengths in one, you have to be able to see the weaknesses in 2. And to only speak good things about them and speak no bad things about them is literally impossible, because every unit has a strength and every unit has a weakness. C90 corrects some of those weaknesses, but you still have weaknesses too. Just say it.
Definitely. So, but yeah, with that being said, though, let us know down in the comment section below who you guys are thinking about BT plusing, or if you're planning to skip on BT plusing any of these 2 characters. Do let us know who you plan to BT plus next. So, and of course, with that being said, if you guys do enjoy it, like the video, subscribe, do other good stuff. Make sure to check out Kaiden's channel. His link will always be down in the description below of these videos. And any last words?
Can I please get out this basement now? I've been here for the past 6 months.
Gosh darn it! No, stay in there. No.
You let Bard in earlier. Bard was in your house earlier. I heard him singing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Goodbye.
Later, guys.